Gwaltney Group-RE results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome to another gorgeous weekend in southern Minnesota. I'm Andy Brownell. Yeah, along with Robin Gwaltney Group-RE results here on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Yeah, so this weekend, gorgeous. Last weekend, I guess was really, really special down here.
Gosh. Beautiful.
But I was in Duluth, and for late October in Duluth, it was incredible.
Awesome.
And I finally got to see my daughter's home that she purchased, thanks to the assistance that you provided in guiding us to, or guiding her, I better say, not us, to a very, very qualified realtor in Duluth. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, good.
I'm so proud of her.
Yay.
The photos of the house that you saw on the website did not do it justice.
Oh, good.
They
I know she's really
well.
close to the water, right?
I think in the wintertime, when the trees lose all their leaves, they'll actually be able to see the lake from their back windows.
Awesome.
But if you go to
awesome.
But one block down on the sidewalk, it's not even a block, it's a half a block. You can see that it's only the lake is only a couple blocks away.
Awesome.
Incredible.
I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, well, thank you for the assistance.
Yes, you are very welcome. Thanks for trusting in me. I appreciate that. So that's great. So, as you know, it was a tough week for me.
Yes.
Lost my mom unexpectedly on Monday, and I had to say it because I had two people reach out to me who only know me from listening to me on this show. I was so moved. They both sent me messages on Facebook and told me, you don't know me, but I listened to your show on Saturdays. And oh my gosh, I was so moved by that. So you know who you are. And if you're listening today, thank you so much because it meant the world to me. Tough times, but like I told you off air, Andy, my mom had a full and wonderful life, and she had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and now she is not going to fade away. It's not going to get the best of her. She had it for 6 years, and really all she lost was her short-term memory. So she lived her very full life right to the end and passed very peacefully in her sleep. So I thank God for that.
And I know that you and Scott took fantastic care of her.
Yeah, so no regrets. I got to see her every day. We bought them a house right next door to us, so my morning started by going over and saying good morning, and I went as soon as I got home from work, and most days we had dinner with them, and I was there until they went to bed at night. So no regrets, and I will treasure those memories
for my goodness.
Sure. So that's the best real estate investment I've ever made, is that house next door for my parents to live in, I'll promise you. I was showing houses yesterday to a friend he's looking for investment property, and he said, Robin, with everything I'm hearing and reading, real estate is still the best investment. And I'm like, you got that right. I mean, real estate is a very strong investment. There are a lot of people still buying rental properties and a lot of short-term rental, long-term rental. That particular houses I was showing him were in walking distance to Mayo, so of course that's prime real estate in Rochester. But houses are still selling, and that's great. And yes, you're going to hear that the interest rates went up, might go up again. But I want to share an article that says 3 questions you may be asking about selling your house today. First question, should I wait to sell? Even though there are more homes for sale today than there were at the same time last year, inventory is still low.
Yes.
Which means it's still a seller's market, okay? So a buyer's market is when there are more than 7 months worth of inventory. A neutral market is when there are approximately 6 months worth of inventory. A seller's market is when there's anything less than 6 months worth of inventory. And right now we have approximately 3 months worth of inventory. So, yes, it's a very good time to sell your house.
I had one of those conversations this week with a person who insisted that the market was going to crash.
No, it's not.
And
it's not.
And I said, why do you think that? And then brought up what happened, a decade ago. And I said, but you do see the difference, right? And I said, we still are facing an enormous shortage of housing today. The demand for the homes still far exceeds the supply of homes. So
it absolutely does. So right now,
that's basic economics there.
Yeah, we are definitely seeing, and you can see where people are going to think, okay, it got bad then. If they don't really understand it and they don't really understand what caused it to be bad, you can see where they're going to think that. Because I get calls all the time. Will there be foreclosures for sale? Well, let's see. The average person has about $250,000 equity in their home. So, yeah, I don't think so. You know what? If they can't afford their house anymore, they're going to sell it, take their equity, and move into mom and dad's basement. I don't know. But they're not going to, back then when people were losing their houses right and left, if they had chose to sell, they literally would have had to bring their checkbook to closing and pay the difference because they couldn't sell their house for what they owed on it. And that is not the case now. So it is completely different. I do want to say, have things slowed down over the last couple, this year over 20 and 2021? Oh, yeah, they definitely have. But they are still better than 2019, which was a fabulous year in real estate. So we're good, people.
Well, actually, I imagine that you're extraordinarily happy it slowed down from what it was a year or 2 years ago.
In a lot of ways, I am thrilled. And I'm thrilled mostly for buyers and sellers, because how many radio shows did we talk about buyer's remorse and people buying without inspections and then finding big horrible things, or buyers trying to walk away at the very end because they realized they paid $75,000 more than the house was worth, and they waived the appraisal difference, and all those things that were happening. And boy, oh boy, that caused me great stress. When somebody would buy a 100-year-old house and waive the inspection, I was like, oh boy, here we go. But now it's like we've gotten back to, now does that mean it happens every time? No. I mean, I listed a house last week, sold it the first week. It was $250,000, had 3 offers. The offer that said no inspection won. Because the people were worried about hiding something? No, not at all. It was their parents' home. They just wanted it to be done. Okay? No inspection means sold sign is up, done. So, I mean, it's still happening. But in that case, even if they would have had an inspection, if they would have come back and asked the seller to do anything, the seller would be like, I had 2 other people that were willing to buy this house, so why would I?
Right.
So, but for the most part, people can have their inspection, ask for things within reason, and take some time to think through this whole process. And we're going to have fewer people with regrets. We're going to have fewer people deciding, oh my gosh, I made a big mistake, because they're able to look at more houses. I mean, honestly, they don't have to go in and say, do you want this one? Because if you want this one, the offers are due in 15 minutes.
God.
I mean, honestly, we don't
that
have
stresses me out thinking about it.
It was very stressful. So, do I want the real estate market to fall apart? Of course I don't. Do I think it's going to? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are going to be just fine.
And bringing up the inspection business and how important it is, one of the conversations we had in Duluth last weekend was a friend of my daughter's who bought during the peak of the pandemic crazy times.
Yeah.
And was forced into one of those situations where they had to bid for an older home without an inspection, and well, guess what? The well's bad.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, now see, we are fortunate to live in Olmsted County, because Olmsted County requires that the well be in compliance for any sale. No matter what. If you wanted to sell your house to your son or to your sister or to your brother, to anybody, and doesn't matter. In Olmsted County, the well has to be in compliance. Now, you can negotiate. You can say, well, that's fine. you can buy it and you can be the one that pays for it to be in compliance if they want to do that. But it has to be in compliance within 6 months of the sale, because it's a way to protect us from having a bunch of incompliant wells out there. Right? So it's really smart.
Yeah, it compromises water quality for everybody potentially.
We don't have that same rule in Wabasha County, and I wish we did, actually. I think it's really important to have compliant wells at the time of the sale.
All right, Robin, we have to take a break already, so we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, really quick. We'll be back with more with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Save on everything for your next project with 11%.
Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on this beautiful Saturday morning in late October.
Gosh, gorgeous.
Yeah. And they keep talking about this doom and gloom winter coming up.
Well, as long as it doesn't start till January, we're going to be all right.
That's kind of what I'm doing. When you get all the way to January, March is only 3 months away. So.
Exactly. Anyway. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was... I mentioned, and I guess I actually misspoke. I said $250,000 equity, but it says here in this article that the total average equity per borrower has now reached almost $300,000.
Really?
So when they say I can't afford to buy a bigger home, or I can't afford my next home because the interest rates are so high, well, you probably didn't have $300,000 worth of equity coming into this last one. So when you bring that, you're borrowing less money. So if you're borrowing less money at a higher rate, it's still going to all be very affordable. Okay.
And as you've repeatedly pointed out, you're not marrying the rate. You can refinance when things get better.
Refinance. Dump it when a better one comes along.
And so if you can make it fit within your budget at this rate.
Exactly.
You're going to benefit down the road.
Along, there you go. Absolutely. People say, I don't want to do an adjusted rate mortgage. It's too risky. Well, why is it risky? I mean, if you're locking in for 5 or 7 years and you know you're going to get this percentage for that year, for those years, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is that when that time comes, the rates haven't gone down. Now you're going to go up by 1% for the next year. It's not like they just all of a sudden jump from 4.5 to 9. So trust me, it works out. It's very cyclical, and history does repeat itself. And if you look back in the last 100 years of mortgages and rates, you'll see that they go up, they come down, they go up, they come down, and just like recessions, right?
And we're not going to see 2% again, I don't think, in my lifetime.
I don't think so either, but I never thought we'd see it the first time. So who knows? I'm not even going to try to predict that. Even going to try to predict that.
And I know I've told this story before, but we're currently, around 7%, basically?
Yes.
So when my dad got his last house that he bought in 1968, he got 7% interest. And then the 80s came, or the 70s came, and I remember, growing up, he would always go, we're never going to see 7% interest rates again. I really got a good one there.
You did great, Dad.
Well, relatively, considering it was up
relative.
In the
Yes, it's all relative. That is awesome. I love that. Well, since the 2008 housing bubble burst, the word recession strikes like a much stronger emotional chord, right? Because everybody does say, what's going to happen? Are we going back to those days? But there is actually a pretty good outlook that I want to share, okay? It says that global CEOs see a mild and short recession and are optimistic about global economy over the 3-year horizon. More than 8 out of 10 anticipate a recession over the next 12 months, with 60% of them expecting it to be mild and short.
Yep.
So I filled up my tank yesterday for $3.29 in Wabasha.
I think that's going to go up just because of the seasonal things that happen with gasoline prices. But
house heating is going to for sure do that. 25% higher this year. Get out another blanket and turn it down a little.
The economic outlook that you mentioned, the state of Minnesota hires, I don't know the name of the firm, but they're one of the top firms for economic consulting, and that's what they're predicting a recession beginning basically now and lasting through the summer of next year, but they predicted it will be a very mild recession.
Mild and short.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and this is another thing I want to talk about. Over the past 5 recessions, mortgage rates have fallen on an average of 1.8% percentage points from the peak. Okay? So once we get to the peak, then we can expect them to drop on average 1.8%.
But you've also said this before, regardless of what that interest rate is, you're still building equity with every payment you make into that home. You're taking off. And
it's the bank account that you live in. The bank account that you live in. You're paying every month to build equity. Maybe not 18% year over year like last year, but you're still going to have 3 or 5 or 6 or 7% year over year. We're not losing values. Houses are not losing values. We have a shortage of inventory, and property values will continue to increase. Okay? So the bottom line is history will show us we do not need to fear the word recession when it comes to the housing market.
Do you think that the reporting that we're seeing regarding the housing market is being driven by the markets that a lot of these journalists are living in, that saw some of the craziest times during the recession?
Absolutely. I mean, I have friends in Phoenix saying, oh my God, our market has been hit so hard. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Last year, values went up 30% year over year. 30%. I told you my broker bought a $1 million house that he lived in for 1 year and sold for $1,300,000.
Wow.
Doing nothing to it. Okay, so and that was not a fluke thing. That was what was going on in that Scottsdale market. That was average 30% year over year. So now it's back to that house selling for $1 million instead of $1.3 million. Well, yeah, I mean it has to. Things are selling for what they're worth now, not for some crazy pie in the sky number. And if they would have continued to go like that, nobody would be able to afford a home except for the extremely wealthy people. And that would just create such horrible polarization. I mean, it would be terrible. So the bottom line is that if they're complaining that all of a sudden they're not increasing by 30% this year, I have one thing to say to that. Wah. Seriously.
We have to take a break, so perfect timing. We'll be back in a moment more with Robin Gwaltney Group-RE results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
You hear a lot of different things in Minnesota these days.
With Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We are back. Robin Gwaltney Group-RE results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Of course, we're sometimes I feel
your friend offline. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall when we have these conversations because regardless of what you say, it continues to come back. The ignoring the obvious economic realities of demand and supply.
Right. And the thing that we really do have to get out of people's head is that the same thing is going to happen as 2008. It is two completely different things. And I actually have an article that I want to send to you, not to be sarcastic, but that you can share with your friend and hopefully put his mind at ease. But, I mean, this is a really good article about why today's housing market is not like 2008. Okay, it goes on to say, with all the headlines and talk in the media about the shift in the housing market, you might be thinking this is a housing bubble. It's only natural for those thoughts to creep in and make you think that we could be repeating what took place in 2008. But the good news is there is concrete data to show that is nothing. It is nothing like last time. So, the three reasons. There's still a shortage of homes, not a surplus. If you remember 2008, you could drive down a block and see 4, 5, 6 houses for sale.
They were building spec homes everywhere.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Condos going up in Vegas, everything.
Yeah. And so now, supply of homes, nothing like last time, okay? We don't have anywhere near the houses that we had on the market then. Back then, we had 10 months worth of supply, 8 months worth of supply, 13 months worth of supply. Now we're looking at 2 months, 3 months, maybe 3.8 months. So nothing at all the same, guys. And the lending standards are still very much under control now. Back then, if you remember, they were very relaxed. So a lot of people were getting mortgages and honestly being able to buy houses that were outside of their comfort. And then, again, like I said earlier, they didn't have the equity in it. So when they had to turn around and sell it, they literally had to pay money to sell. So completely different. And I know this is going to disappoint a lot of people, but the foreclosure volume is just not there. I mean, last time we had foreclosures, coming out of the woodwork, like hundreds of them. And now when you find one, it's a very rare find. So completely different times.
Well, even in this market back then, when it was as bad as it could possibly get, at least in my memory, we didn't, compared to what you were seeing in other parts of the country, we weren't even seeing that many foreclosures.
No. I mean, we had some, but we definitely had a lot more then than we have now, but we didn't have them like they had them in other markets. You're absolutely right. Okay, I want to plug a couple of my new listings.
Oh, great.
Okay? All right. So over at 1201 19th Ave Northeast, I have a side-by-side townhome that is so lovely. It was built in 1983. It's, kind of up Viola Road to Hiawatha Court, up to 19th Avenue,
Oh, that's a nice area, yeah.
So nice, yes. And it is, let's see, what do we have this listed for? Darn it. I don't have the price on here. That's no good. Shoot.
It's not free, I can guarantee you that.
It's not free, but I printed out the wrong. Okay, so all I can tell you is I have a really nice place there. I guess you'll have to look it up. I printed out the wrong format.
Okay, so but if you go to the website.
Yes, perfect, thank you. Go to GwaltneyGroup.com. You can check out not only our new listings, but you can, the next one I don't even have to tell you because it's sold already, so that's all right. And I've got one out in Pine Island, a really unique, fun home. It's got a basement that could be rented out as an apartment, and it's right down at the end of a cul-de-sac. There's a stream down below it and woods up behind it, and it's 300 Kennelly Court Southwest in Pine Island. And that one is $349,000. So that's a really great place. And
it's perfect for somebody who has an adult child living at home.
It is, really, yeah, or an elderly parent or whatever.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So, but what I was going to say is on the website, you can not only find these new listings, but you can look at all of our other active listings because we are in a situation now where there are some houses to choose from. So it's awesome. And I was at a couple of listing appointments this week, so I'll have some more coming next week, and I'll be more prepared, and I'll actually have the prices included so I can sound like I know what I'm talking about. Sorry about that.
Well, no, it's nice to. I remember a year ago, and even earlier this year, you would often come in and you had maybe 4 listings, but they might have been
sold.
And there might have been only 50 listings in the entire community.
Right. And I literally had an exciting one that I was going to talk about that I listed last Saturday. So after the show, and it's already sold. It was over on 11th Avenue in Elton Hills, and it was a sweet spot, $249,900, and it was a one-owner home, and we got 3 offers within a week. So
that's where I grew up, 11th Avenue Northwest, Elton Hills.
Oh, is it? No, cool.
Yeah, that's the old hunting grounds.
So you probably knew the people because they were the only people that lived there. So
I'm sure I did.
Yeah,
or at least their kids. Wow.
Yeah. So very cool. Anyway, I don't know.
Okay.
What else do I have to say? Just that I'd love to help you with any questions you might have about real estate. So feels good to be back in the swing of things, back to work, and it's very helpful to see the sunshine. But I am full speed ahead working. So if I can help you with any real estate questions, please do not hesitate to call me. And my cell phone is 507-259-4926.
All right, Robin. I'll be thinking of you. You're in our prayers, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
Robin Gwaltney with the Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. News Talk 1340 KROC AM and